Nobody else can hold you back. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to understand. If you have a goal and it's in front of your eyes the whole time, you're going to make it. Just put everything you have into it. Just work at it every day. It's not, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. It's today. It's right now. Let's go.
So what happens when resilience meets relentless service? Meet Keren Gonen, who left the international shipping world, moved 29 times, and turned uncertainty into impact, becoming Sussex County, New Jersey's #1 real estate agent in just 8 years. Her story is proof that true success isn't about transactions, but about transforming lives and building lasting community one at a time. Keren, good morning. Welcome on Behind Their Success.
Good morning, Peyton, and thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, Keren. So give us the high-level story of who you are and kind of your journey, where you came from and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'll give you the cliff notes because the story itself is super long.
Right.
So I was born and raised in Israel. I came to the U.S. when I was 13 years old, right after the Gulf War. My parents were pretty much, my dad is a paramedic, so he constantly kept being called back into service. And that's the type of home I grew up in a customer service type of home, entrepreneurial. My parents were always business owners, and being called to the war every week after week didn't work out for them. And so we came to the U.S. We lived in Connecticut for 3 years. Then my senior year, my parents moved us to New Jersey because of a friend whose name was just like mine, Keren G. And so I ended up moving to Fair Lawn for my senior year. I stayed in Fair Lawn for a few years, moved out of my parents' house. We ended up moving to California, all of us there. That's where my kids were born. Then we came back to Jersey. I worked in my parents' international shipping, import and export business for a really long time. We had our own company for about 20 years. My sister was in the business also. It was a really good business until it wasn't. And when it closed, I actually ended up getting divorced and moving to Florida, then coming back to Jersey. And I was in between jobs, and my boyfriend at the time was trying to buy a flip in Vernon, New Jersey. At the time, we were living in Passaic County in Ringwood, New Jersey. And he wanted to do a flip because he was a contractor for over 25 years, and prices in Vernon were super low. You could buy a bank-owned property for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And he wanted to make that happen. But unfortunately, real estate agents were not getting back to him. And so being that I was in between jobs, I said, let me take over the communication because I've always been in business. I've always been in customer service. My follow-up is insane because I've always done that for all of my jobs. So I know how to text, call, email, and do all of those fun things. And so I took over communication, or I should rephrase, I tried to communicate. And I was getting nothing. No one was calling me back. No one was texting me. They were just, all my calls and emails and text messages had gone unanswered.
Great.
And I was flabbergasted. I couldn't understand how professional people in an industry where they need to sell something, and I'm the buyer, I'm looking for their service, and nobody called me back. I just couldn't get it. So 2 weeks after trying, then he came home, and all I did was complain. Hey, how come no one's calling me back? And this is ridiculous. And don't these people need to sell a house? These people, don't they need to sell a house in order to make money? Do they get a salary? This doesn't even make sense. And I'm just complaining because, we have to vent it out. And who better than the person we're with? They know us. They know everything we're going through. And so he looked at me and he said, well, you're not doing anything right now. So how about you become an agent? And I thought about it, and this thought had never crossed my mind. And I said, you know what? Okay. Something new. I was all about new beginnings. I never had an issue trying something that I've never done before. I'm a sink or swim baby type of girl.
Yeah.
So it was the same thing in the shipping industry. my dad had taught me shipping for a week, and then he took my mom on a 2-week vacation. And I called him and I said, Abba, I can't believe you just left me in the office to deal with everybody. And his response was, sink or swim, baby.
Wow.
And baby swum because I wasn't going to drown. Yeah. And so it was the same thing in real estate. I jumped right in that night after he made that suggestion. I signed up for class. I started class the week following, and a month later I had my license. And nice. That's how it all started.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. It's amazing you're talking about how nobody called you back. What was like the time for when was like, what year was this approximately?
This was in 2016, at the end of 2016.
Yeah.
So at that time, Sussex County is behind the rest of New Jersey and the world for that matter. We're about 6 months to a year behind the rest of the state. And so for us, it was a very big bank-owned property, REOs, type of business. And so not understanding, I didn't realize that agents weren't calling me back because their commission check is probably a car wash or a dental cleaning or something like that. So why would they waste their time? But I didn't know.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting, like that's a struggle, even just as a consumer myself, I have. And it's so frustrated me as an entrepreneur, business owner of like, I just, for example, had an issue with my truck a couple of weeks ago. I've called the dealership 3 times, left voicemails 3 times, and no one calls you back. And it's just amazing that like, it's where I say a lot where like the bar is set pretty low, in my opinion, to be able to stand out and provide good communication and customer service.
I agree with you. And that's so frustrating to me because I come from that background. And it's not just in this industry. It's literally across
my industry is terrible. I mean, in just the tax, I'm a CPA and accountant, like the tax industry. Half my new clients come to me because, no one like emailed them back.
Yeah,
and it's amazing to me.
And what's funny to me, Peyton, is that half of my clients come to me and they say, the agent I used did nothing for me. They didn't send me any houses. They showed me 3 houses, expected me to put an offer. I have clients that I had been working with for 7 years before we found them a house. So it wasn't showings every single weekend. It was maybe once a month or once every other month. But I would always I always did my job. So to stand out in this industry is not difficult because the bar is set so low. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. So, I want to turn to, you have a classic immigrant type story here. So like how has that experience shaped you, right? Like shaped your mindset as an entrepreneur?
I think for the most part, all of us immigrants that come to the U.S., and I think it's valid for second generation, so kids that were already born here, but their parents are immigrants, there's no other option, Peyton. Yeah. It's I came to this country, and there are so many advantages to being in this country that I need to take advantage of it. If I can't take advantage of it, why am I here? And overall, we're all so grateful to be here. Because we have free speech, we have a home, we have a community that accepts us. And when I first came here, and there's always, that saying that they're saying the U.S. is the melting pot. We're not a melting pot. We are a salad bowl. The reason we are a salad bowl is because we still keep something from our own culture while integrating into the community. So I've been in the U.S. for over 30 years, so that's the majority of my life. But if you ask me what I am, I will tell you I'm an Israeli and an American. I've had my dual citizenship for years, but I'm still an Israeli at heart. If you talk to me about Israel, you'll see my patriotism. If you talk to me about the U.S., you'll see my patriotism. So I'm kind of a blend. And the reason I say salad bowl is because in a salad, a cucumber is a cucumber, a tomato is a tomato, but they create this whole new flavor that's so good because of all the flavors combined. And that's what people don't realize. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be who you are. Just be genuine. And that's really important, especially here, especially in today's world.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And I totally agree. I love the analogy you use there of the salad bowl. And right. there's all these different cultures across the world. Everybody has their own beliefs and even traditions and whatnot. And it's, to me, the way I view all that is like everybody has like little pieces of the truth, right? And when you kind of blend it all together, I think you get a lot closer to what actually the truth is in the world and how it works in general, which is a great thing. But, you talk about, to me, like being an immigrant and being an entrepreneur, like to me, there's advantage to that. And the advantage to that, like you said, is like, what it's like not to be here, right? A typical American like me that just grew up here, like it's very easy for me to take it for granted that like, okay, we have a fairly safe, structured environment and it's not chaos all the time. To me, it's like, I just traveled internationally literally last week and talked to a lot of people down in Brazil and just get their perceptions. Talking to people down in Brazil last week, the word entitled came up several times, right? It was just discussing a lot of the American culture, right? And it's tough. I wish people to realize that there's so much more out there and so much. We have an amazing opportunity, and to sit back and complain about it all the time, well, it just does no good.
And what's worse in this country? If you have a complaint, go out and change it. You have a complaint about your local mayor, your local government, your state government, your national government. Go out and change it. Go and be the change you can because you're here. Whereas in other countries, God forbid, you say something bad about the government, you get thrown in jail, your family never sees you again. And that's something that we certainly take for granted because that's how we live here.
Yeah,
and
you don't know any different. Yeah.
Life. And I think if Americans, overall as a culture, we don't travel much, right? So my kids were on a plane before they were a year old because I wanted them to have the travel bug that I have. My kids have been out of the country. I can't even tell you how many times, can't tell you how many states they've been to, whereas other people that I talk to have never been out of Jersey. Yeah. Okay, so they went to New York and Pennsylvania, but they've never been to Florida, South Carolina, Arizona, California. Mm-hmm. They've never gone. And I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking there's so much in this country. Even if you don't want to leave the continent, there are so many things to see within the U.S. There's so much beauty. Whatever you're into, it's here. Go travel.
Yeah. And to me, like, I didn't have that as a kid, right? I think the first time I ever got on a plane was my honeymoon. Like, no joke.
Wow. See, typical American.
Yeah. And so I grew up in rural Missouri, and like, that's what I knew, right? And I think traveling and experiencing and talking to a lot of people, a lot of the prejudice and ignorance and just all the BS around the world would go away. Sure. Because it's really hard to hate somebody when you're up next to them talking to them, right? Really easy to hate somebody from far away when you don't know them.
Yeah, we call them keyboard ninjas.
Yeah, which is really easy to do on the internet now too, right? Like,
sure is.
And I really, I totally agree with you. I really wish people would get out and explore and meet different cultures, and then a lot of the ignorance around the world would plummet quickly.
Yes,
and hopefully wars and everything, right? Like, it's just, it's so hard to hate somebody when you're standing face to face.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to hate someone when you're standing next to them. Go and look for yourself. Before you try to advocate for another group of people who you're not part of their culture, not part of their country, go out and look at what's actually being done in that country, in that situation, and then advocate. If you still feel the same, go for it. Good for you. You know firsthand, this is what's going on. But if you don't, and all you're doing is looking on social media or the news, because I have a bone to pick with the news also, because why not?
I mean, they're there to enrage is all they're there to do.
Yeah. And that's the problem. We have so much information thrown at us at once with today's technology, but there's nothing to guarantee this is the truth.
Yeah.
Because they're only showing you what they want you to see.
100%. And by the way, they all have sponsors. They all have people who's they have to play to certain narratives. And that's just a fact. And the more you realize that, the more you realize, okay, I'm being fed a story. Someone's perception of the world doesn't necessarily make it true.
Correct. And people can twist the truth, and you can show
very easily. Yeah.
You can show people the tiny, tiny picture and say, this is what's going on. But if you go out to the mainframe, that's not the story. And You can't control that. What you can control is how you react. We can't control what's being thrown at us generally in life, right?
Yeah.
But we can control our reaction. We can't control our feelings. We can control all those things. So I talk to a lot of people because our area is very rural, literally lakes and forests, and people can feel very secluded. But all you have to do is just reach out. And I'm very grateful to live in an area where people actually care about each other. In town, God forbid something happens, everybody comes together. And because I moved 29 times in my life, I never had that before. But I knew that Vernon was the place for me to be. From the second I crossed over the border, this feeling came over me of peace and serenity. And I said, I have to live here.
And I love the point you made there of like, we can't control the stuff that's thrown at us, but we can control our reaction to it, right? And the most famous book about that is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, right? Where, the guy went through the Holocaust and the most imaginable things and realized that you can control your reactions to anything, right? And there's a stimulus that comes at you, and then you have a moment to decide how you react. And that is literally the only thing you can control, right, in the world. Yeah. Just an amazing book and story there.
I think if people took a moment and took a breath before they reacted, we are all made out of love, right? We should come from a place of love. If someone's coming at you or information's coming at you, you need to step back, take a breath, and remember where your root is. If you come always from a place of love, your reaction to anything that happens will be different. When people scream and holler and curse at me and behave inappropriately, my reaction is, I pity you. I'm sorry you went through whatever you went through.
Right,
yeah. Because you don't know what they dealt with. God forbid someone in a family is sick. Their loved one passed away. Their dog died this morning. You don't know. And that's what I teach my agents. If you want to do well, be ready to do your job and the other sides. Because if you're going to point fingers, they know what they're supposed to do. They're clearly not doing it. So if you want to sell a house, be ready to do your job and their job. And what's going to happen as a result of that is that they will remember that you were kind when everybody else gave them the same type of attitude that they were projecting. You were different. And they'll remember that.
Yeah, and I love you bring that up in real estate. I work with a lot of real estate agents.
Oh, so you should know.
Yeah, where it's like, and not to trash on a bunch of real estate agents, but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, my experience, it's like 20% of them do 95% of the stuff, and often that 20% is making sure all the deals come together, even from both sides of it. Both sides.
Exactly, and that's what makes people successful. If you want to sit back and say, well, that's not my job, I'm not doing it, you will always be mediocre.
Yeah. And you'll lose out on,
God knows what.
Yeah. I mean, you'll close a quarter of the deals you would have closed, right? Or something like that, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what agents need to remember. They need to remember that we are a dime a dozen. What makes you different? Yeah. Why are they going to come to you for service and not the other 58,000?
There's 10 million realtors. I mean, like just everywhere, right?
It's true. Yeah. What makes you different? That's why if you go on my page, if you go on my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see that I'm different. I'm unique. I'm me 100% of the time. If you're buying a $50,000 house for a flip, or if you're buying $1 million house for your family, you're getting the same type of service. I'm just me all the time. I'm not a mysterious woman. I'm not a conceited woman. I don't keep the cards to myself. I lay it all out. And if you like it, let's do it. And if you don't, see you next time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that mindset. I agree. Like, especially in you're in a somewhat commoditized, service, right? Like, because it's hard for the consumer to tell the difference between, one realtor or another, right? And by being authentic and being yourself, just by doing that, you stand out because you're your unique self, right? And you care and you come from a place of service, right? And that's unfortunately pretty rare in today's world.
And that's what I teach my agents. Hey, just be you. I have an agent who's a drummer and a DJ. Hey, Let's market
Lean
you as
into it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lean
I have
into it.
another one who's a real estate investor. Hey, you have all the knowledge. You can help other flippers. Let's lean into that. I have another agent whose parents are immigrants, just like me. Let's lean into that because that's a community that only you can serve because I don't speak the language. I'm a really good agent, but I don't speak Macedonian.
Well,
So
they can reach people that you can't, and you can
exactly.
reach people that they can't, right? Because
Right.
certain people are going to relate to you and certain people are going to relate to your other agents. And that's fine, right? And I have a very similar stance. It's like, hey, this is what we do. This is the service we provide. This is how we do it. Do you want to work together or not? And my
Really?
second favorite answer is no, right? I either want to
What's
yes
the
or
worst that can
no.
happen? They're going to say no. Okay. To me, so see, no to most people is a no. You close the door. To me, it's the beginning of a negotiation.
Yeah.
You said no. Okay, let's try this way. Let's try the other way. One of the really good things about my culture is that we think outside the box. So when there's an issue in real estate, just like there's an issue in every single industry, I'm really good about saying, okay, these are all the components. How can I make it work? How can I bring it together? And that's one of the reasons that I am successful, because no is just the beginning. It is not the end. And if there's a problem, that means there's a solution. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that attitude. So, yeah, got a question for you.
Sure.
How do you balance? Obviously, you're the number one producing agent, and in your area. How do you balance like aggressive growth goals with that high level of customer service? Because at times you feel like those pull against each other, right?
Right. So I'm very, very dedicated to my clients. I will not work with more than 8 buyers at a time. After 8 buyers, I lose the type of service that I want to give because I only have 24 hours in a day. I have a husband, I have children, I have dogs, I have chickens, I have plants, like my
Responsibilities.
Lots of responsibilities. So I make sure that I don't stretch myself too thin because when you do, you burn out, and I can't afford to burn out. Yeah. And I actually love what I do. So when I get up in the morning, it's always, I'm so excited to get started on work. And if it's 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, or 6:30 in the morning, I'm excited to be up and ready to go. So the balancing is really with saying, listen, I would love to work with you, but at this time, my plate is full. And as soon as it clears, if you're still in the market, I'm happy to help you. And I think that's something a lot of professionals do. They just take, not realizing we all have only 24 hours in a day. I only have one mouth, but 2 ears, so I can only speak to one person at a time, which is what people don't realize. But when you don't, if you don't pass clients to other people that can handle it, you lose out because that person is going to give you a bad review and they're going to say, Peyton wasn't available to me every time I called, and Peyton didn't answer my emails within 5 seconds of me sending it because I sent an email and I'm the only person on this planet. So now I don't want to work with him. It shouldn't be like that, but in today's world,
yeah, it's reality to some degree. There's a push and pull there, right? Where, that's how I've grown my business. Like being very responsive, very communicative, very transparent. And I built my business that way 100%. And as I've grown and gotten too many clients, right? And I've made a lot of different adjustments to trim that down and get really focused on what I do and way more importantly, what I don't do. That has allowed us to zero in and really we've gotten a lot better at setting expectations where it's just like we bring on a new, tax planning client and it's like, hey, we have a kickoff call. We take 45 minutes with every new client and 3 people on a call with them to literally lay out expectations and how we work.
Perfect.
And all of that's done is just like, hey, this is how we, this is our main mode of communication. If you need us, you go here first, here, this is exactly how you get us information. And if you need something immediately, how you get a hold of somebody. Right. And so just by laying that all out, it makes everybody on the same page. Everybody has the same expectations. And it just works out a whole lot better.
And I think that's one of the problems when you're an entrepreneur, you have to pay your bills. And so you make the choice of taking on more business not realizing that if you're not top notch on top of your game, it's going to backfire. And it takes a while to learn that because, hey, I can handle everything that comes my way. I am a woman. Hear me roar. I can do it. And I could be on this board and on this charity and I can volunteer here and I could be on 20 committees in my town and also be on my board of realtors and I could volunteer. And, you just take on so many things, not realizing life is short. So if you're not focused on what you're doing right now, you're missing out on everything else in your life. Like in the morning, I get up in the morning, my dogs come to me. If I'm on my phone and I'm distracted, I'm not enjoying the fact that I have fur babies and I love my fur babies and I'm not giving them the attention. So when my dog comes over and she puts her head on my lap, I put my phone down and I give her those 5-10 minutes to just be her and I, because my dogs take away a lot of my control-ism and anxiety and all that stuff. But I have to be present in the moment in order to reap the benefits of that. And that's what a lot of professionals and a lot of entrepreneurs miss out on.
Yeah, struggle. It's a huge struggle in the entrepreneur community because you're right. Like, you talked about anxiety and like that's the typical personality of an entrepreneur, right? Like, and that's what are successful, or at least part of it, whatever drives them, at least in the beginning, right? Of that, just general anxiety. I got to accomplish, I got to prove something, all that. I suffer with that myself.
We all do, Peyton. We all do. If someone's telling you they're not, they're lying. There's no way they're not dealing with it.
It's such a struggle for, a person like you, a person like me, to sit still, to be present, to like the present moment is really all you have. And I say this a lot on here. It's like, okay, your past, your past is all in your head. Studies show like most of it's wrong. You make up stories and it's not technically accurate, right? So it's not even real.
It's what you perceive reality.
And your future is the same, right? Like you just make it up. So really the only thing you have is just the present moment. And that's the only thing you can interact with and have control of and all those things. And it's something I've struggled with, especially growing my business, of taking that time to disconnect and just be present. But it's something I really leaned into, especially in the home life. I have 3 small children, wife, and all the things. And
enjoy them, Peyton, while they're still small. Mine are 17 and 18, and they were just born yesterday. So the best advice anyone ever gave me was don't blink. And I didn't, but they still got...
They still moved fast, didn't they?
It didn't help, but I made sure that I measured those moments carefully and I took the time to enjoy them. And when I go away with my kids, my phone is on silent. I have a team that covers all of my transaction. Of course, when I come back, they tell me their significant others hate me because of the amount of calls and showings and things that they've had to do. But thank God I only take
That's my normal Tuesday. What are you complaining about?
And that's what I say all the time. They're like, oh, man, I'm so happy I'm not a top producer. I'm like, okay, but have you seen my house? Have you seen my kids? I live on 21 acres.
Must be nice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a part that kills me. Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky to have all this business. And then I said, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah. And it's like, well, sure. Yes. I mean, luck is where like, okay, preparedness, runs in opportunity, but like you can't even spot the opportunity if you're not prepared doing the work, right? People don't understand that. Yes, you got to be in the game, working your butt off, and then opportunities show up and you have the ability to take advantage of it. People just want to sit on the sidelines, not do the work, and be like, oh, man, I didn't get that opportunity. It's because you weren't ready for it. You weren't prepared. And the people that are in the game every day, they are prepared. And they get to see that fat pitch come down the middle of the plate and smash a home run because they're ready for it.
Exactly. And it's funny because in real estate, every brokerage has like a different setup. I don't know how familiar you are with the setup of real estate, but I had an agent that came to me from another brokerage and she said to me, oh, I can do your inspections and your showings and your appraisals. And I looked at her and I said, the brokerage you came from, did you do your broker's showings, inspections? She's like, yeah, he paid me for my time. I said, is that what you're expecting me to do? because I love doing my business. When I do home inspections, that means I can show my clients my expertise and the knowledge of the house. And I can make sure the inspector is covering what he's supposed to. And I can make sure that my clients are comfortable buying this house. Same thing for sellers. I'm there because I want to represent my sellers. I had an inspection this weekend and my seller called and said, is the buyer coming? She had no idea. She had never sold a house before. Is the buyer coming? I said, yes, they are. Is their agent? Absolutely. Well, I'm not comfortable with them being in my house alone. I said, totally get it. If you'd like, I can be there all day. I just prefer not to because I don't want to step on the buyer agent's toes. Sure. Because this is their time to connect with their client and cement the relationship. You're in a house for 2.5 hours. You're going to be talking about different things that are not necessarily just about the house. I said, but if you are uncomfortable in any way, I'll be there. And she said, well, no, I kind of don't want to do that. And I said, is there something really valuable in the house that you're concerned that it'll be in danger? She said, no. I said, let's do this. I will stop by the house mid-inspection to make sure everything is okay. I'll see if they have any questions, and I'll just walk around the house, make sure everything's okay. And she said, you know what? I'm comfortable enough with everything you told me. You don't even have to do that.
It was your great communication there that was all of that, in my opinion, right? Like you just had an open, transparent conversation with your client, right? Like if you were, maybe a new agent and scared and didn't want to upset your client, you were like, you would have just like jumped and like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that or be there. But like you took the time and you're like, okay, hey, this is why, this is the pro of me going there. This is the con of me going there. And this is why I might not want to go there. You know what I mean? And like, you just had an open conversation. Most people can't communicate at that level, right? Or just haven't had those deep of conversations.
Yeah. And, very often people ask me, what's your secret? How come you're so successful? Like, what are you doing different? And I'm an open book. All my agents get all my tools. And I've always been that way. Even when I first started in real estate, there were certain things that I did that no one else in my brokerage did. And my partner at the time said, don't teach them. Don't tell them what works for you, because then they're going to be like you. And I said, look, if it works for me, I want to spread the knowledge. If I'm doing better and they're doing better, the whole industry will do better and we will just be better for the consumer. And that's what we're supposed to do. And I'm also not afraid of competition. I thrive on competition. So yes, I want to teach everybody else to be just like me. What they do with those tools is a totally different story.
Yeah.
I want to help.
For one, no one can be just like you. But two, you give all those tools. Like I have a close friend. He's the number one agent in Kansas City, the Kansas City market. And he is always frustrated where like he's top producing, great hustling guy. And like, he's like, I give everybody the team. They just like all the tools. It's like, I can bring you in here. And if you're willing to do everything I say, you'll make $200,000 like in a year.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. No one does like no one will follow it.
And that's the problem. Like you expect things to fall in your lap. They're not going to fall in your lap. It's not God giving us manna in the desert. It's not going to fall. You need to go out and do the work. So for instance, in New Jersey, we're supposed to have 12 credits every cycle. So every 2 years, we have 12 credits. Do you know how many credits I had last cycle? 64. Why? Because I want to learn as much as I can. And just because I took that class 2 years ago, it's totally different now. We've had lawsuits with the National Association of Realtors. We've had issues within brokerages. If you're alive, you have an issue. Why would I not want to learn more and get more tools and be better at my job for my clients? Why not?
That's another big separator of successful people and non-successful people is the continuous learning. And I would say even more importantly is the humility to continuously learn, right? Like it would be so easy for you to be like, oh, well, I'm the big dog here. I don't have to do any of this stuff. I mean, like seriously, right? Like it would be very easy for you to say that or take that stance. But then that would be the beginning of your downfall. Like it absolutely would. Right.
And that's really funny because my husband, very often I tell him, oh, I want to go see Jared James. I want to go see this person. I want to go listen to that person talk. And he looks at me and he's like, but you're perfect. You don't need to do anything. Look how well you're doing with the tools you have. And I say to him all the time, there's always more I can learn. I'm like the eternal student. Yeah. Give me a book, I will have it read in no time at all. And I'm so stubborn that even if the book is boring, I will finish it because I can't leave it unfinished because it'll be in my head that I don't know the ending.
I have no problem. I read a lot of books and listen to a lot of podcasts. I have no problem trashing a book early if I'm like, no, this thing's not worth it. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Are you looking for a new tax experience? Looking for an advisor that actually brings you high-level ideas and proactively plans so you aren't overpaying your taxes? Or how about one that even just responds and communicates in a timely fashion? If any of that resonates with you, you probably just have a tax preparer and not a tax planner. And it is through the tax planning process where all the value is found. And when tax planning is done right, it has a positive return on investment. I'm Peyton Squires. I'm a CPA and owner of Squires Tax Planning. We work alongside entrepreneurs and high-income earners, helping them pay the least amount of income taxes, both legally and ethically. We have saved our clients hundreds of thousands of dollars through specific strategies, and we guarantee we can find multiple tax strategies that your current tax preparer hasn't told you about. If that interests you, head over to squirestaxplanning.com. There you can take our free assessment to see how likely it is that you are overpaying on your income taxes. From there, you can also book a free tax discovery call with our team to see what it would look like to have us working for you. So, are there any like daily habits or routines that you would credit that really help you stay aligned and focused?
Yeah, so I exercise daily. Let me just say I hate exercise. I just want to be clear. I don't like it at all. But at 48 years old, I have plans to live till I'm 120 because my mom died when I was 29 and I'm not doing that to my kids. And I tell them all the time, I'm going to be that old decrepit woman with skin like leather and you're going to be like, die already. Why?
She's going to be talking in the corner.
Exactly. So I have to exercise because it clears my mind. It keeps me more focused. It keeps my body working a certain way, which is what I enjoy. It allows me to run around with doesn't matter who, and that's important. It's really, really important. Plus, what I do every morning is I do my morning prayers because I want to connect to a higher power. That's my belief system. I believe. So I talk to him every morning and every night, and I start with my gratitude. I'm grateful. And I start with really simple things. Like I lay down in bed and I'm like, I love my bed. Thank you for my bed. And then I go on to my family and their health and my house and my town and my countries. And I'm grateful. And then I ask for things that I think are meaningful for the world, not for me. It's never, I really want a big sale next month. It's never that. It's always on a bigger scale because I have concerns. I have major concerns for my children and their generation and the fact that they have the attention span of a goldfish, like 3 seconds. 3 seconds. If I don't catch your attention.
Well, we've been trained to take dopamine hits all day long.
Exactly. And that's why I said until the power goes out, because what are my kids going to do? So we play board games. We read books together. We do all these things because I want them to have both sides of their brains developed. Not just the one with the immediate, instant gratification.
The person that can delay the gratification the longest without seeing any results from their actions win the biggest, right? It's the person that can work on a project for years with nothing telling them that like this is even working out. And the people that can delay it forever and ever and ever, those are the people that are successful. And today's world is designed to train everybody to be completely the opposite. It's exactly. Like, what do I get now? What do I get now? And you can't take, like you said, 10 seconds to focus on literally anything. Everybody is so damn distracted all the time. And I'm the same way. I feel like I've trained myself better than most, but even now I'm like, you're not focused enough. You have to be more focused. Like you have way too much junk going on. And it's like, it's not, what's the one goal you're going after? And filter everything through that, right? And that's something I'm really trying to work on right now.
Peyton, if we're talking about goals, I just want to tell you, I sit down with my agents at the beginning of every year, and I make them write out their goals. And the reason for that is because if you don't write down a goal, it's a dream. If you write down a goal, you can now come up with a plan of how to reach it.
Back into it. Yeah.
Exactly. And if your goal doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Not big enough. I want to see you scared because that's going to make you run around like crazy and getting things done.
I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Science of Scaling by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, which is one of his newest books, and his books are amazing. But it talks about setting impossible goals. And the reason to set impossible goals, there's a science behind it, is that it forces your brain to filter out all the noise that doesn't matter, right? Exactly. It gets you extremely focused. If you set this huge goal, it's like, okay, everything you're doing, probably, 90% of what you're doing needs to go away for you to reach that goal, right? You have to get that laser focused. And that's kind of the whole point of setting those massive goals. It makes everything else look unimportant and falls away, right? And because, like we said, the biggest issue is that you're not focused. You're distracted on 10,000 different things.
Right. And I think that's also part of the problem. We set up goals, but they're not high enough. Oh, I could do that in weekends. Like, whatever. I don't need to work on it now. Like, for me.
Yeah, it doesn't force you to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. For me, my goals are always so big where everybody around me, they're like, you're insane. I don't know how you set up this goal. Like, here's not an option.
You have to trust it, right? You have to have that faith and that trust, right?
Right. Because, the only one that could hold you back is you. Nobody else can hold you back. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to understand. If you have a goal and it's in front of your eyes the whole time, you're going to make it. Just put everything you have into it. Just work at it every day. It's not, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. It's today. It's right now. Let's go.
So final question for you, Keren. Talking about legacy, what kind of legacy do you want to leave, for your community, your area, your county, right? Sussex County, and, your children and family.
So my children are my legacy. And I tell them that all the time. When I die, what I want is for people to come to my kids and say, your mom helped me do this. Your mom helped me do that. Your mom did this for me. When my mom passed away and we were sitting Shiva on her, people came from all across the country and actually from Israel too. And they came up to my sister and I and said, your mom helped me get out of an abusive relationship. Your mom helped me start a business. Your mom helped me ask for that promotion that I didn't want to. I didn't think I could. Your mom, your mom, your mom. And that's what I want for my kids. I want my kids, when they're mourning the fact that I've gone further, for them to say, I didn't know my mom did that. My mom was so cool. I have to be just like her. I have to do the same exact thing. And my legacy, so I have big plans for this area. When I'm done with real estate, my plan is to create several businesses. Well, real estate is going to pay for that. It's going to be a charity in my mother's name, and it's going to teach people in the area how to run a business. Because in Israel, there are a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of us grow up in entrepreneurial homes because we're always thinking, we're always trying to come up with something new, something exciting, something that can benefit the world's community, not just us. The culture here is a little different, and that's okay. It's okay to be however you are, but what do you want? What do you want to leave behind? I want to leave behind people saying, I now know how to start my own business. I know how to do bookkeeping. I know the legalities. I know I can do marketing. That's what I want to leave behind, for people to know how to be entrepreneurs.
I will agree with everything you say there. And, you talk about your legacy. Mine is very similar to that. And my kids just know who I was and what I did and all the stories that, certainly aren't public and things like that we don't really even talk about it. But and same with this. I mean, this is what this podcast is about, really. It's like, I've developed myself from, a tiny single mom kid into what I am today. And I want to share the story so people can be empowered by that and realize, whatever excuses or stories they have in their head, it's like, it's just made up. Like you can literally do whatever you want to do. And that's really the whole point of this podcast and everything that's goes in behind it.
That's great. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. We set things up in our minds, these invisible walls. There's no need for that. The world out there is going to try and stop you no matter what you're doing anyway. because that's just, you're doing well, I'm not. So you must be the reason that I'm not doing well, because you took the business from me, which is not the right way to look at it. The way to look at it is, what is that person doing differently that I'm not doing? How do I get better? And when I, for instance, don't get a listing, I ask the seller, what did that agent offer you that I didn't? Because I want to be better.
I'm learning. Yeah.
And I'm not coming from a negative place. It's the exact opposite. They must have offered you something that I didn't, or something that they said you liked it better. I just want to understand. And that's okay. I love learning new things, because how am I going to get better at what I do? I definitely don't know everything.
Most people wouldn't ask that question because they'd be too scared to know the answer, right? And they would take it
I have no fear.
Right? They would be too scared to get the answer. I know that. And
yeah.
This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you. You're obviously a rock star up there. So what's the best way people can connect with you, get to know more about you, or just follow, the good stuff you got out there?
So they can always get me on my cell phone. It's on 24 hours a day. I do turn into a pumpkin around 10 o'clock at night, but I light back up right around 5:30 every morning. My cell phone number is 551-262-4062. Or they can look me up on Facebook or Instagram at Keren Gonen Real Estate Broker. Awesome. Or they can go by my hashtag, which is hashtag Keren Cares.
Love it. Keren, any last words of advice before you sign off here?
You know what? My favorite saying, be like Nike and just do it.
Keren, thank you very much. And listeners, we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, Peyton.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you found it valuable, please rate, review, and share it. That is the best way to help us build this and reach more people, as we're trying to accomplish our goal of help creating more healthy, wealthy, and wise entrepreneurs. You can follow us on social media by searching for me, Peyton Squires, or going to PeytonSquires.com. On the website and social media, we're always sharing tips of personal growth, and there we can actually interact. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.